What up? This is Robert Horry.
Orry, three-pointer. Buries it!
You might know me as Big Shot Bob.
To Orry for three. Oh, unbelievable. This guy is off the charts.
What's going on, Big Shot Bob?
Robert Horry from downtown.
Oh, I know what's going on. Rob came with receipts. That's what's going on. It's the Big Shot Bob podcast. That's B-Dog, Brandon, Harper. My name's Rob Jenners. The man with the receipts would be seven-time NBA champion, Robert Horry, who we're going to get to in a moment here with something I want to play for everybody. We'll do that in a second. We are here. We are in the NBA playoffs. The play-in started last night. Hawks lost to the Magic. Grizzlies lost to the Warriors, so the Warriors are your 7th seed. The Magic are your 7th seed in the East. And now we go into the play-in tonight where we get, who is it? Then we get Chicago and Miami in the East. Hawks will play the winner of that game.
On Friday.
And then we have Sacramento, and who am I missing here? Who are the Kings playing tonight?
Dallas.
Dallas, that's right. Mm-hmm. Dallas is in the play-in. So we're going to see Memphis get the winner of Dallas and Sacramento. So you before we even really started here, come out waving a piece of paper, telling us how we all screwed up, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I immediately recognized that is the scrap of paper you wrote down our playoff predictions on this year, way back in October, and I went, oh shit. So yeah, I mean, go ahead. What are you looking at there? What do you got?
I'd say we all three of us failed.
Well, everybody failed.
None of us. Hey, we didn't pick the Rockets. Neither one of us picked the Rockets.
None of us even had the Rockets in the play-in.
No.
Wow.
Rob, you and I had the Pelicans.
Yeah, no. Let's not talk about that. Yeah. Uh-huh.
And then, we all picked Sacramento.
Okay. Well, they're still technically.
They still technically, we all picked the Wolves.
Okay.
And we all picked OKC.
Okay.
I messed up. Like, I picked the Lakers, Dallas, and the Suns, and each of you picked, like, one of you didn't pick the Lakers.
Are you talking about me?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I don't think I did pick. I think I picked the Lakers to be in the play-in, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you didn't pick the Lakers.
Yeah, no, I had the Lakers in the play-in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Remember, I had the Nuggets in the play-ins, but the Nuggets are what, 6 seed, 5 seed, whatever it is.
Ooh, where are they? They're the 5th
4th seed.
The 5th or 4th?
Fourth.
Yeah. 4th.
Yeah, because the Clippers are the 5, right? Because it's Denver Clippers.
Yeah, it's Denver Clippers.
On the East side, we all picked the Cavs, Celtics, Magic, and Knicks.
Okay.
And because we know my Sixers out, and it looked like my Heat might be out.
Told you.
And I had the Bucks in the play-in.
Okay.
And so
I think I had Milwaukee in just straight up. I don't think I had them in the play-in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I had the Hawks in the play-in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who else. I don't think I had. I mean, here's the thing. I probably may have picked the Cavs, but I don't think anybody saw the Cavs coming out with doing what the Cavs did this year.
Yeah.
I figured maybe they would be a play-in or a playoff team, I should say, and maybe stay out of the play-in. But I did not see the Cavs running away with the East.
Yeah. And I did not see the Suns, the highest paid payroll in basketball,
dude,
not even making the play-in.
They got. We're gonna get to the Phoenix Suns because they got problems in Phoenix.
Yes, they do.
We have a lot.
And can I put this on record when I asked them why in the hell they hiring Bud?
Okay, you did. You sure? I think you. We talked about it early on.
Yes,
they are.
Why in the hell are you hiring Bud?
Look, screw it, man. We're on the Suns. Let's get to the Suns. They fired Mike Budenholzer. 3rd straight season they fired their head coach. Not a good look for the Phoenix Suns. 2022 they went 45-37. 2nd round exit, Monty Williams got fired. 2023 they went 49-33. 1st round exit, Frank Vogel gets fired. And then obviously we know what happened this year. 36-46. They miss the playoffs. They don't make the play-in, and Mike Budenholzer's fired. Their big three. You mentioned it, Rob. The highest paid, the biggest payroll in the NBA. Actually, the largest payroll in league history. Kevin Durant made $51 million. Bradley Beal made $50. Devin Booker made $49.2. those big three make more than the entire Pistons roster.
Damn.
They outrank the entire Pistons roster in salary with just those three players.
Yeah.
Crazy.
According to management after Budenholzer's dismissal, quote, competing at the highest level remains our goal, and we failed to meet expectations this season. Our fans deserve better. Change is needed. They moved on from Bud.
Yeah. But
What do we make of Phoenix? Because Bradley Beal said this week he wants to stay.
They crapped out.
You got to get one of those. Got to get rid of one of those $50 million contracts. You know, Bradley Beal wants to stay, but Devin Booker. If I'm Devin Booker, I'm asking out. I'm like, yo, man, I gave you this franchise for 10 years. It's time for me to move on to somewhere else. Think he needs to move on.
How? And you just said 10 years, and that made my head spin. Has he been in Phoenix for 10 years?
I think he's been there for what is he, 28?
He's been there for a minute, hasn't he?
It feels like
I just threw the number out
for
there
a minute, but I'm curious to see how long he has been there. He's 28. I'm trying to see if they can run back when he's. Yeah, 2015. Uh-oh, we're blacked out. We okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Making sure something unsavory wasn't happening. 2015, Devin Booker. So yeah, you're 9 seasons in.
Yeah.
On Book. Yeah, they got big problems. I mean, they got management issues. Like, forget head coaching. They have franchise management issues, big time.
They got a lot of issues.
Oh my God! And it's all right. I don't want to harp on it, but I think are we starting to reach this point in the NBA where we're sort of kind of grown beyond the super team? Because it seems like every time they assemble a big three somewhere, it's a monumental failure.
Yeah, for me, the big three has to be something different. You think about Boston's big three, think about Miami's big three. They were all different players. This big three, they're pretty much the same 3 players. And it's not like one of them are a power forward or a center or a point. They all like 2 threes that shoot and score. Even though Booker's defense has improved and KD's defense has always been good, but it's just like they're the same thing. You can't play one at 2, 3, and 4. I know you can do it, but they all do the same thing. You think about the big three they had in Clipperland. They pretty much the same thing too. So they had to get rid of Paul George, and they look a lot better without Paul George. And I know Paul George didn't have the year he wanted to have in the Sixers, but when you do a big three, they gotta fit. Not just go, oh, you're a talented player, you're a talented player, you're a talented player. It doesn't work. Just ask Calipari when he was at Kentucky. Throw all these fucking talented players together. This shit don't work, man. You got to have some guys. I call them specialists. You got to have some specialists that know their roles, going to do A, B, C, and D for you, and that's all they do. And you got to. And with that payroll, you can't get that in Phoenix because nobody's going to take that less amount of money to come play for the Suns when you're not guaranteed to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know what this is, and I'm gonna put some of this on. For those of y'all who are hearing me, I'm just regaining my voice, so bear with me. We got to start looking at KD because as dynamic as a player as he is, eventually at some point in time, because of the magnitude of the player that he is, and if he's going to a team, how much a team has to give up, and how much players have to give up because of who he is, you got to start looking, dog. What other options do you have? Like, you're running out of options of teams that you could go to, not because of the fact that you can't play anymore, but for the simple fact that when teams want to trade for you, how much they have to give up of their own assets in order to get you. Now, you're getting a little long in the tooth. He can still ball, but it ain't like he getting younger. And teams got to now start looking at, okay, as great as he is, do we really want to give up all of our assets and all of our – like, if I'm someone like Houston, I'm pretty sure Houston is going to have a conversation with the Suns at some point in time about a potential trade for KD. But if I'm Houston, I'm sitting in the number 2 seed in the West with all of my young guys, and none of them are really in their prime. Like, none of their guys are in their prime. Do I really want to think about giving up pieces to bring in KD, or do I want to continue to develop knowing that I'm kind of ahead of schedule with Ime? Or do I just want to be the hot new young team that's on the come up in the toughest conference? Like, they're number 2 in the West. That can't go. That can't go overlooked. They're number 2 for a reason. They play very well. None of their guys are in their prime. If I'm Kevin Durant and I'm the rest of the league, I gotta start looking and say, hey, it takes a lot to get me. What am I gonna have when I get there? Because he still want to win a title. But you're not going to be able to win a title with some of these teams if they're giving up heaven and earth to get you.
Yeah. And I mean, and to your point, giving up heaven and earth to get, 3 guys on that roster? And Rob's talked about that 100 times, right? You just deplete your bench. You murder your payroll. You hit the salary cap. You're paying luxury tax out the rear end just to keep 3 guys on a roster who were great. And maybe still are great. I mean, I don't really know what to expect anymore for Bradley Beal. He's a good player. Is he a $50 million player?
And he pissed off now because obviously the report came out talking about Bud wanted him to be more like, I don't know if this is true,
I think this
Drew
might
Holiday.
Be BS. Yeah, I think this might be BS.
Okay, yeah. And it might be, but at the same time, I can see that happening. I can see Bud telling him that.
I can see Bud telling that too because he won a championship with Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
So he this is what you need to do. And it's like, for me, Bradley Beal reminds me of AI. You remember how great AI was in Philly, and the system was built around him. And then when he went to Denver, he was scratching his head like, what the fuck do? I got to share the rock. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fit in. I'm still a great player, but I'm not fitting in where I'm only touching the ball 2% of the time. And so Bradley Beal is just going to be one of those guys. He's going to be stuck. And the bad part about that is that big ass contract, ain't nobody gonna take that on because we haven't seen much from you to warrant us taking you and that contract.
Thing about that no trade clause is it works. It's 2 sides to that coin where, you get to choose who you don't want to go to. But at the same time, who you may want to go to ain't gonna want to take on that contract. So it's 2 sides to that coin. It's great to have a no trade until you want out, but you don't want to go certain places, and the places you want to go don't want to take on your contract. And I think that's that space that Bradley Beal is in right now.
Hey, Rob, let me ask you a philosophical question that I think I know the answer to. If it means taking less money to be on a championship contender or getting your bag but probably not having a shot at a title, which would you prefer?
I'm going to go for a championship. And I know that's right. And for me, as many times I wanted to take the bag, I told you where I could have took more money to go to Dallas or Miami, but I stayed in San Antonio. It gets to a point where, this day and age, everybody judge players by if they won a championship. You think about how hard they on Barkley and how hard they talk about, Patrick Ewing and, Carmelo, all these greats that never won championships. And think about Bradley Beal, we're not putting him in that category of those top 75 yet. But think about when you add a chip to your resume, it means a lot. It means like, your goal was accomplished. I know a lot of guys just want to get to the NBA. Oh, I got to the NBA. That's all I want to do is get my bag. But the competitor in you wants to say, okay, I did the ultimate goal, and that's to win a championship. So for me, I would go that route. After maybe 1 or 2 championships, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go get my bag now because I already got my chip. But you think about it. Bradley Beal's already got his bag. Go get a chip now. Think about it. You take a Bradley Beal next year and you throw him with Dallas or, Lakers or teams that are already on the cusp of winning, where they can use a guy in a situation where guys get hurt. And now who are we going to fill in? We're going to throw you in there and play. It's, I look at Bradley Beal and I look at KD as perfect fits for Dallas next year. I don't know what Dallas have to give up to get one of those guys, but put them alongside because they can complement AD. And Kyrie's going to be out for a while, and you just need to pick up a point or something, and that could make them contenders like they need to be or could have been this year.
The only problem with that when it comes to Bradley Beal is, we always talk about the ego of guys. I think the way we view Bradley Beal and the way a lot of the people around the league may view Bradley Beal is not the way Bradley Beal views himself. And perfect example, you're talking about the whole Drew Holiday type of concept. I don't think that's a slight to Bradley Beal, but because he's used to being the man, when he was in Washington, which seemed like forever ago. They didn't do nothing with it. But it's about being the man and being the franchise player, to go from that to being a part of a big three where you, in a sense, have to take a little bit of a backseat, which you had to know that when you went there, because that's not your team. But to take a little bit of a backseat and to play a role, like you getting your money, like you the most, at one point in time, you were the most expensive player coming off the bench. Like we had never heard of a guy making 50+ million coming off the bench. That's crazy. But money is money. Your money don't look no different when you come off the bench. Mm-hmm. So at some point in time, I think you got to go from having this I'm the man mentality to realize, hey, bro, you're a dynamic player when you're healthy and you're a dynamic scorer. Go somewhere where you can help somebody instead of always having to be the man. Mm-hmm. Those days have come and gone. You're not in Washington no more.
Well, it didn't get you anywhere.
It didn't.
I mean, it got you paid, which is great. But if you, like Rob said, if the goal is to put a ring on, then you might have to kind of reevaluate how you come at things.
Yeah. It didn't just get him paid. Yeah. It got him broke the hell off.
Oh, no, yeah, he got his bag. No, you're right. He's making $50 million a season. He ain't scraping by. But like you said, I mean, it's you really got to put things in perspective when you start to get to this point in your career where hopefully, you've made enough money where you're very comfortable. If it means taking a little bit of a step back in salary to be a part of a team that can get you to the promised land, don't you want to do that?
My whole thing also, I don't know if this is possible. You know, that $50 million, for me, I'm like, okay, dude, all right, I made a ton of money. Do you restructure that contract?
That's another thing.
Yeah, can you, I don't know if it's possible. I don't know the ins and outs of the contract and shit.
He's got to be willing, you know what?
I'm going to restructure my contract. You sign me to another deal. Let's say you sign me to a 5-year deal. All right, we're going to restructure this contract where I do the Barry Bonds. So if I retire in 5 years, I'm not Barry Bonds, the Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah,
I get paid for the next 20 years.
Yeah, we're going to back end all my money.
Yeah. So, it's one of those things for me, it gets to a point where I wouldn't want to be talked about by the media every day and people looking at me because, the media can twist it. Now the fans are reading what the media says. Now the fans are hating you because you don't want to be traded. You costing team money, and you're the reason we're losing. Think about that. I'm not saying that's. I'm just saying, but they can be constructed like that by the media, and he's looking like he's a villain now. At the end of the day, you don't want to be a villain. You're like, okay, man, let's restructure my contract and let me move on, so we can make both parties happy, and I can go be happy. Because when you think about it, at one point in time, they were booing him. His home team was booing him. That gotta be an awful feeling, man.
Because you want the investment to pay off. And again, fans, we've talked about this 100 times. Fans don't really treat anything in any kind of fair manner. So it's not like they're trying to be fair to him. But you know what he's getting paid. I mean, it's very public what he's getting paid.
Yeah.
All three of those guys. And for you to miss the play-in, you got 3 players making $150 million and you can't make the fucking play-in? If I'm a fan, I'm sideways. And I'm not necessarily going to a game to boo a guy, but in the same heartbeat, you don't have my heartfelt support. I'm not out there going, man, he's going to turn around next season. I'm like, no, move him. Restructure his deal and get him out of here because that's money that needs to go to reinforcements that we clearly do not have. We fired 3 coaches in 3 seasons. It's just straight turmoil for them right now. And when you see the stars of the team getting broke off like that, and he's not performed, hasn't been hurt, he hasn't performed what they expect, of course they're gonna target him. And I think Durant's going to get some of that too because they're going to go, KD's past his prime. We're paying him too much money. We got to move him. So I feel, and Booker, who's the only guy I think on that team that if he just said, hey, I'm good and I'm going to stay, everybody seems like they'd be cool with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. From a fan's perspective. Not from a business, but from a fan's perspective, I think if they said, we're going to keep Book and we're going to figure some other stuff out, I think everybody would be cool. So I don't know, man. Phoenix got problems.
Yeah, they got big problems. But it almost is like when the trade with Bradley Beal went down, it almost is kind of like you could see some of those problems on the horizon at some point because these are 3 ball-dominant guys. And we always say when you bring ball-dominant guys together, ain't but one basketball you can roll out there. And those guys making the money that they're making, you can't build out any depth, which they never had since the duration of having these 3 together. They don't have any depth, And all three of these guys, especially, well, really all three of them now, are going to miss time with injuries. They're going to miss time, which they did. So this had disaster in a sense written on it from the beginning, but because of the names and because of what Phoenix was trying to do, hey, you know how it is. Could Phoenix be the team?
Yeah, what's weird is we forget that the Suns were just in the NBA Finals, like, 3-4 years ago?
Oh, yeah. No, it seems like it was 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, it was probably, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I think it was 3 years ago.
What was
the
it? They
season
lost
after the bubble, wasn't it?
Bucks. They lost to the Bucks.
Lost
That's
to the
right. They
Bucks.
lost to the Bucks.
Lost to the
Yeah.
Bucks.
So, yeah, I mean, look, that's a fall off that no fan base is going to be okay with when you're breaking guys off like that. Sorry, just not happening. All right, well, look, we do have a mountain of playoffs, so let's not necessarily talk about the teams that didn't make the playoffs. But we do have a game this week. We're going to play a round of they missed the playoffs edition of Who's Bigger. So that'll be fun. We'll get to see what you guys know about that. We do have a lot of playoff stuff. A couple of quick notes before we get to the matchups. Ant-Man finished the season as your leader in three-pointers made. He made 320. I don't know. That's just a lot of shots, man. A lot of shots from my guy. And then the rest of the playoff field kind of shook up like this. In the West, we got the Nuggets and the Clippers, the 4 and the 5. Surprised at all by where the Clippers finished this thing out? Now, Kawhi coming back toward the end of the season, I think definitely helped them get a little bit of their momentum, but not shocked by where the Clippers landed, but surprised.
I think I'm surprised. I think the biggest key to the Clippers was Norman Powell. He elevated his game while he was out, and he was able to be Kawhi, Kawhi Leonard like. And so I think that was the biggest key. And plus, we hadn't talked about this guy in a long time. James Harden kept the team afloat, just being himself. Not being the Houston James Harden, but being James Harden enough to get buckets, put teams on notice where he has to be double teamed. And let's go back to that big Zubac. Big Zooey did work today. He did a lot of work. And we don't like talking about bigs unless they're Wemby, but and Joker, but he did a great job for them this season.
Okay. Yeah.
Obviously, they're going to get the Nuggets at the 4. How do you like the matchup?
I like it. That's going to be an interesting matchup. It is all going to depend on Zubac, on how he plays the Joker. But I'm going to go with the Clippers.
Okay.
I think because if they stay healthy, I just think they got nobody that can guard their big three. When I'm talking about the big three, I'm talking about, of course,
Kawhi,
James and
Powell.
Kawhi.
Yeah.
And also Norman Powell.
I'm interested to see what Kawhi Leonard comes with.
Well, he's been balling lately.
He has. He's been showing flashes of Kawhi Leonard of old. You know what I mean? But
he's been healthy.
He has, which is nice. But I'm curious to see, are we going to get some kind of epic, postseason Kawhi Leonard Raptors-esque playoff run out of him out of nowhere, where he's been hurt on and off, and everybody they were throwing. Was it a Perk throwing rocks at him, saying he should retire? He should just call it and now he's going to come out and just rip off a postseason for the ages. I'm waiting.
But how good was the last game of the year, though? Clippers versus the Warriors.
Oh, that was a back and forth the whole way. Yeah. A nonstop.
Fighting for fifth spot. That was cool.
So
that was a good game.
That was a really good game. But that's what I like about the end of the NBA season. We're right there, and every game counts. All right, other matchups. The other matchup on the West, obviously, the one we probably should talk about first and foremost, the Lakers and the Timberwolves. So we talked about Ant-Man finishing out the year. How do you like this matchup? What are your keys here if we're doing a traditional NBA style type thing? What do you think is the keys for them to take out the Timberwolves?
They're going to have to keep Ant-Man shooting jump shots. And if to me that's the key. I know he's made a lot of threes. When he gets to the rack and able to dunk on people and get people in foul trouble, that's when that team gets some spark. And Rudy Gobert has been playing really well also for them. So I think you got to pull Rudy out, put him on skates, and go at him. So he has to go to the bench because he can't guard nobody. So and the guy that's really been playing better than those three is Julius Randle. They're gonna have Rui. I'm putting Rui on Julius, and even though Julius is probably one of the strongest guys, well, most physical guys when they play the game, how he just likes to run you over and beat you up. Plays like how LeBron plays a little bit. So they're going to have to control him. So it's going to be up to Rui in that matchup to control Julius Randle and keep him off the boards and let him shoot jump shots. Now, don't let him get to the rack and get those and ones.
Yeah, this game is going to come down to me who can control the boards. One of the things we said about this Lakers team that was their Achilles heel was the fact that they don't have enough size. And at some point in time, depending on the matchup in the playoffs, you're going to be able to see that and that be exploited. Well, one thing about, we can say whatever we want about Rudy Gobert, and like you said, he's been playing well. They got bodies. You know, Rudy Gobert is a big body. Naz Reid is a big enough body, even though he plays a lot on the perimeter. But he could bang the boards. So with the Lakers, it's all about how physical they get in the paint. And if they can control the rock and if they can get these rebounds and come down with some of these rebounds, if Minnesota controls the boards, they're going to beat the Lakers. Yeah. Because you're giving Ant-Man a lot more offensive opportunities. And the more that he has the ball in his hands, the worse it gets for the opponent. Because Ant-Man is only getting better. Like you said, he led the league now. He probably took a ton of threes.
Oh, he did.
But leading the league and leading the NBA in three-pointers when Steph Curry's still playing is crazy.
Yes.
So
not really.
Here's the one I saw this week, and
Steph takes good shots.
He does
take a lot of bad shots.
Here's the weird one too. To your point, before you go back on, I don't think Steph's ever led the league in threes. Okay. I saw that stat this week and was like, that. How is that actually a thing?
Well, then that plays into what Rob is saying. It's but I do think, that means Anna's still knocking them down. Mm-hmm. You got guys who take a lot of threes and say, well, if you take a lot, broke clock is right twice a day. I'm like, yeah, but he's been knocking them down.
He has.
So I think when you give...
His game has changed a lot, though, in the last season or two.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, he's going more for the three ball than he is playing physically. And I think early on in his career, we were so impressed by how physical of a player he was. And not that has gone away from his game.
Right.
It just seems like he's opting more for like Rob said, if you can hold him to field goals and keep him shooting the ball, okay, it's hit and miss. But, if he starts getting physical and getting in paint, okay, that's a different kind of ball game.
Here's the thing. The Lakers can lean a lot on Luka in this series because he just faced them not too long ago in the Western Conference Finals. So the Wolves are going to have a hard time with Luka. They're going to have a hard time with Luka. I think one of these things, because the Warriors outside of Ant-Man aren't a great shooting basketball team, I don't want to say that this is anything that LeBron can kind of take off as far as in a sense, but LeBron can kind of play rover a little bit when it comes to defensively and play more of a help out type of thing. But Luka is going to be a key factor in this when it comes to getting to the basket. And I don't need Luka taking bad shots.
No.
I really don't. No. I don't need Luka taking bad shots in this series.
I don't need AR taking bad shots.
Well, AR don't take too many bad shots.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Take it from the man who watches him every night.
Luka takes more. Luka
takes more.
He frustrates the hell out of me.
Luka takes more, but Luka is like, once AR starts going into his bag and put that head down, like, here we go. He got to get it up. Luka would do that, but sometimes he get to the hole. He has that pause in his game where he'd be like, then he kicks it.
Yeah.
But AR, think about it, AR only passes the lob to LeBron in the air for dunks.
Hey, I like an aggressive AR because when we start talking about that, remember how we were talking about that big three earlier? Mm-hmm. Lakers kind of have a three. No.
Yeah, they have a three.
They got a three. And AR, and this is why they never wanted to put him in trade discussions because of this right here. He has played absolutely amazing for majority of this season, which is what you wanted to see because you need other guys that can step up. Because like I said, LeBron ain't getting no younger. And eventually you're going to need another guy that can say, hey, I want to see you do your thing.
Yeah. It should be an interesting series. I want to know what the over-under is, how long it takes before the dog pees in Rob's office.
That ain't gonna take long.
Because I'm watching Rob this whole segment, and he's got eyes behind him. Like, he's just waiting for the dog to lift his leg so he can be like, nope, you're out. Nope, not happening.
I know. Candace brought him in here because she had to take Storm to the vet. And she's like, just leave him in here with you. So I'm like, okay, no.
Sure. He's just looking for something to pee on.
I know it, right?
Rob's got a new puppy, and it's a damn cute dog too. Holy cow, really cute dog. All right, let's see what else is left here to talk about with the playoff schedule. I mean, okay, Pacers, Bucks, Knicks, Pistons. Those are your 3-5. Your 3-6.
That's going to be an interesting series.
I was going to ask who y'all got in that Knicks Pistons series.
Man, I really like scrappy Detroit.
Yeah,
and I don't have a lot to lean on aside for the fact that I just think Detroit's a scrappy little team.
Here's the thing. Detroit can't get in their own way. They're still young.
Yeah.
And they can't let the scrappiness get them in trouble.
Yeah.
Because if it does, then it starts to take them out of the game.
And that's just it. I think the Knicks are going to try and play to that, right? Like the Knicks are going to be a little more aggressive to try and get them off their game, to try and get them to maybe push a little harder than they normally would because they're young and inexperienced. And and the Knicks have played real well this year. And we haven't talked a ton about the Knicks because it's like, man, we're not really invested in the Knicks, but Knicks have had a good season, man. I mean, they finished at the 3 seed. They play real well. They match up, I think, pretty well against Detroit. But Detroit's a lot less experienced.
They're also playing with house money.
They are, and I like that. And that's part of what I like about that.
I think the biggest key for them is to make sure Isaiah Stewart doesn't do anything stupid.
Well, that's a
because he's an emotional guy for them, and he tries to be an enforcer.
When he gets hot,
he's going to have to keep his head and do what's best for the team. And then I really want Tobias Harris to step up because you the old head on that team.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to step up and lead this team because you got a young scrappy team that can beat these guys. So it's going to depend on you and what you can do to keep those guys, together.
Yeah.
Now
I like it though.
With
I like
the
the
Knicks,
series.
Everything gonna come down to Tibbs and his rotation.
Yes.
Because we've heard time and time again.
He ain't rotating nobody.
Well, here's the thing. You've even had, you've had guys throughout the years, and we know how Tibbs like to run guys into the ground. And so whatever this rotation look like and however minutes, his guys are gonna play, that's also going to be a determining factor of this series as well. Because it's not by coincidence that Tibbs has coached a lot of players where like Tibbs likes to run his guys into the ground.
Yeah, they all led. I think that like the top 3 of the top 5 guys in minutes were Knicks starters this season.
Yep.
So it's like in minutes played. So it's like he gets the most out of them.
So
I think he's just going to have faith in his bench because if you look at his bench, he got some guys over there that can come off that bench and give him some minutes, man. Yeah. So you just got to trust it. Okay. And it's because you think about it, you got Cameron Payne that comes off the bench, and they acquired PJ Tucker. You got some guys that you can throw out there. Give Josh Hart a rest, because that's the biggest key to me. Josh Hart and maybe Mikal Bridges. Those 2 guys are going to need rest because those are 2 guys you're going to need more importantly defensively. I mean, those guys, because Jalen Brunson ain't going to guard nobody. I forgot OG can guard some. So if you really look at the Knicks team, they got 3 guys that can be lockdown defenders for them.
I want to see what Cat is going to look like against Durant down low. That's going to be a battle. Now, because we all know that Durant is a physical dude. And Cat as well, and he's surprised me this season when it comes to not only just his his offense is his offense,
right?
But his defense he's played pretty well. I didn't think he was gonna hold up.
Didn't he lead the league in rebounds or some shit this year too? Like he was right up there. Yeah.
But when you got a guy like Jalen Durant as physical as he is, and him being there for his defensive presence, that's an interesting matchup between him and Cat.
Yeah, I'm really I watched Durant this year, and I was like, who is this dude? I was impressed with him, man.
The Lakers wanted him at one point.
Yeah, the way he can play. And he does, think about it, he averaged like double-double, and he did exactly what they needed. Think about it. He's the other enforcer that Cade needs out there on that court.
Yep.
What about the Pacers-Bucks? Dame out, still dealing with the blood clot. He said he's going to miss probably a chunk of the first round. I would probably bank on the fact that unless the Bucks are really floundering, you're probably not going to see him until the second round if you see him. But I'll tell you what, Giannis without Dame in the lineup, 31.1 points, 10.3 rebounds, and 8.6 assists. If you can get that out of Giannis without Dame on the floor, I don't have much faith in the Pacers because I have not watched any of the Pacers at all this year. And I haven't watched a ton of the Bucks, but with Giannis playing like that, I don't know. I like Milwaukee.
Yeah, the one thing about the Pacers, they're so unassuming. You look at them like, nobody stands out. Next thing you know, how the hell they beat us?
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's nobody on that Pacers lineup that I'm just like, oh yeah, you got to watch out for. I mean, like Halliburton, okay, fine.
But it's weird. I kind of got without Dame, I got the Pacers winning this.
Miles Turner. That's another guy that
Miles Turner. Yeah, okay.
That's another guy that I throw into the kind of like the Devin Booker world, where it's like, damn, he been in the league how long? I think he's like 29 years old. Miles Turner is a hell of a player.
But you're right, yeah.
And I think, like playoffs to me comes down all to who can control the boards and who can contest for these rebounds and who can protect the rim. I want to see how well Miles Turner is going to consistently, because he's been a decent rim protector for his career, and see how well he protects the paint and how they protect the rim and overall defense. Tyrese Halliburton, I'm fickle on him because I think he's a fickle player. He's talented.
I'm 100%.
But there are other times where I'm like,
100%.
I know you're supposed to have 5 guys on the floor, but it looked like it's 4.
Yeah.
So
him and Ball, when they both play, they play just like that ugly ass game. The shot is terrible, but they get the job done. It looks like they're gonna break every time they go to the paint.
Yeah.
They don't care though. They look at the stat line at the end of the night. How many points did I get? Did I get my boards? Did I get my assists? Doesn't matter how it looked.
Yeah.
The only ones left to really discuss before we move on, because we have a bunch of other stuff to do, was now that we have the play-in matchup set. Magic are your 7 seed. Magic are going to get the Celtics in the first round now.
I just think the Magic don't have enough. I think
they're too low.
Boston might go 4-1 in that series.
Okay. All right, and then the number 7 Warriors, now that they've locked that up, they get the Rockets in the first round.
I got the Warriors winning that in 6.
I'm telling you, man, that's a good matchup though, because the Rockets have played very well.
You said you got Warriors in 6.
I got Warriors in 6.
Okay.
Now I want Houston to win, but I just think the Warriors are just a smarter team.
Well, they've got a lot more experience.
Yeah, the veteran leadership in that game. That's like the one matchup the Rockets did not want.
You're not going out there. You got to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere. Not until
But
Lakers
trust me,
are
I
out,
would
he ain't
love
going anywhere.
Hey, I love for the Rockets to meet the Lakers in the next round. That way I can go to
Got an
both games.
excuse? I got to go to Houston, sweetie.
Shoot, I might need to go see one of them. Yeah. I'm gonna have to go out to Houston for that one.
Well, I don't know. Rob just picked the
Go
Warriors,
together.
so.
Yeah.
You ain't going nowhere if the Warriors win. I got news for
the
you.
good thing about it is both of these your cities. So I mean, hey, show me something.
Come on.
Take them on the Harden Strip Club tour. No, wait.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, wait, sorry. All right, well, and then obviously we're waiting on the play-ins tonight, and then later down the line to find out who the Thunder are going to get and who the Cavs are going to get. But I don't know. Here we are. We're in it, man. It's time. It is time.
Hey, the Thunder might not want to see either one of these teams they got to match up with now.
Who's left now in the West? So they got the Mavs and the Kings.
You think about Memphis. Memphis is probably one of the most unpredictable teams there is, and then
Memphis
Sacramento too with the new team they got. So it can be kind of
and the Mavericks.
Man, OKC ain't worried about no doggone Kings.
The Kings, no.
About no doggone.
The Mavericks, I don't think is a bad matchup.
Yeah.
OKC and the Mavericks.
Yeah,
if they can get past Memphis, if they win and they get past Memphis, it's not bad. I don't know. We'll see what they have. All right, look, a couple things we got to do before we get to the game and we get to Big Shot of the Week. In fact, you know what? Let's go ahead and do an early. I got 2 Big Shots of the Week this week.
Okay, perfect.
I'm gonna give you the first one, and we'll do the second one later. Here's the first one.
But we also heard a story that there was a jersey that you owned that you lost in the fires. Nick, can you tell us what happened there?
Yeah, it's a jersey that we've had for a long time, signed by Robert Horry, Big Shot Rob, Lakers legend. And unfortunately, we didn't bring it out along with the rest of our things. And it's just one of the many things that we miss.
Well, you thought you were coming here to hang out with us on NBA Today, and we loved having you here, but we also wanted to make sure that we could do a very, very small part in helping you to rebuild. And so we have Robert Horry here in studio with the jersey just for you, George.
What's up, George? How you doing, brother?
It is just for you.
You think you can wear this?
You think
Well, get up, man. Let's try this on real quick.
Don't talk to that boy like that.
You made that boy put
Let's
your
see
jersey
this
on.
jersey, because we thought that it would be very special for you to not just have the jersey, but to meet the man and the legend behind it and make sure that we get it signed here for you.
So that way you can know it's officially signed by me. I'm going to do it right here in front of you. Where's my pen? I got it right here.
We got to do it right here in front of everybody.
So I'm going to sign it for you right here.
Let's go.
You know, I'm kind of old. I'm going to get down on one knee. I need to get down. All right.
I heard the knees cracking. I was like, oh, damn.
There's a lot of rings on this set right now, Malik.
Yeah, I was going to say, Brian.
I'm about to ask, after George get an autograph, can I get one too? I ain't never met. This is my first time meeting you too, OG.
Robert Horry, is there anything that you wanted to make sure you asked or say to Robert Horry while he's here in studio with us?
So much.
Oh man, give me a hug, man. Give me a hug. Thank you for owning one of my jerseys. You know, I play with a lot of greats, and the fact that you chose mine means a lot to me. So, thank you.
That was a cool moment, dude. How did that whole thing go down on ESPN yesterday?
Jason Glushine, you know, he's a good friend of mine, an agent. You know, he represents a lot of the Celtics, and so he was like, "I have this friend that needs a jersey," and then he reached out to Malika, and then it kind of happened from there. So.
Yeah.
Hell, I ain't doing that. The Lakers are, you know,
No, it was cool, man. It was a good
so
moment.
I got time.
We had no clue it was happening. Harper walks in here yesterday holding up a phone going, Rob's on ESPN with Mike Andrews. I don't know what the hell they're doing. And then, like, 20 minutes later, it's on social media. Robert Horry surprises a fan. And the immediate feedback from the internet was, how does this young boy know who Robert Horry is?
I know it, right? I'm
like his dad was a fan. That young
get
man.
Get this, though. I talked to him afterwards, and he was like, how did you feel after you make that shot? You know, I watch it on video all the time, and I want to be like that. I'm like,
oh, so
your dad must be making you watch old film and shit.
No, man, he's a kid. He's on YouTube,
Yeah.
and you know, immortality lives on YouTube, man.
Exactly.
You know, you go back and watch all that stuff.
And it's so weird how, you know, so many people are like, he don't know who he is. It's just the fact because the kid wasn't born. Hell, I don't mean it.
The internet can't let anyone have a nice moment. They're just they want to go ahead. A kid doesn't know who Robert Horry is.
So many
get out
haters
of here,
out there, man. It's amazing. People just want to hate.
Oh, dude, we love it. Good on you, though. That was a cool moment, man. That was a really nice thing, man.
Yeah.
Good thing you do for that kid. All right, let's briefly mention a couple of quick things here. Jokic. 3 MVP awards, a Finals MVP already in the trophy case, and somehow this man still finds a way to make history this season. And he finishes with an average triple-double. The third player in NBA history to ever do it, behind the OG Oscar Robertson, and then Russell Westbrook.
Did it 4 times.
Who has done it 4 times.
That's why he's a Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer.
Bless. Jokic's season. Yeah, Jokic season's average 29.6 points. 12.7 rebounds, 10.2 assists. So, yeah, just when you think Jokic is good, he somehow manages to get better and better and better, which is wild.
I can never understand. You know, you think about when Westbrook won his MVP is because he did something that hadn't been done in a long time. When's the last time a freaking big has averaged a triple-double? So, it's, man, you know, it is no slight to what Shea has done this year, but it's clearly, man, it is – this dude, he's probably going to go down like Michael Jordan, LeBron, Kobe were the most, being robbed the most for MVP.
and I mean, look, I've said this before, and I will stand by it. I think Jordan could have and should have won MVP every single year he played in the damn league. Like, there was rarely a season where you're like, Jordan's not the best player on the floor. Like, that didn't happen. It's right now it's kind of that same vibe with Joker. You're right. It's like every time he's on the floor, you're like, what the hell's he going to do this time? He's just that damn good.
Think about it. He averaged a triple-double, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
think about
as a big.
Steve Nash didn't do shit different when he won the second one, but he won the second one.
Right.
Yeah. and yet he's won 3 already and still goes on to average a triple-double. So it's just like, dude, every time you turn around, there's another argument for why he should win an MVP.
This is what hurt him, though. The way they started out the season by losing all those games.
Yeah, they struggled.
That hurt him. You know, because think about it, the beginning of the season, the first 2 months of the season, we was talking about AD being MVP.
Yeah.
We're talking about Shea being an MVP. And I think what the NBA needs to do, they need to stop saying, it's known as impossible. But once you go out there in the league, you say, this is going to be our MVP this year. Think about it. This is a guy. Vegas set these eyes, and all of a sudden, everybody's like, oh, shit, let's just watch him. They put blinders on to everybody else. And I think that's what they did going in this season. Like, Jokic, this season was incredible, man.
Unbelievable.
You can't not. This just wow.
Freaking unbelievable.
Do co-MVP shit. Do it. So everybody be satisfied.
Oh, God. The outrage. All right, let's talk about Wemby real quick because he played in just 46 games this season.
Damn.
Still led the NBA in blocks.
Wow.
Played more or less half the year. Victor Wembanyama, 176 blocks. Next on the list was Brook Lopez, 148. And then Miles Turner had 144. Walker Kessler had 138. Mobley had 113, and Triple J had 113. So even missing all the time he's missed, if he would have stayed in on pace, he would have blocked 254 shots. No, I'm sorry. 254 shots in 71 games as a rookie is what he did. He would have been on pace to block 313.
Crazy.
Wow.
And only one player's blocked more than 300 shots in a season, and that was Theo Ratliff in 2004.
Theo from Hawk.
Theo was killing that year.
Yeah, he did. Blocked 307.
He had everybody scared to go to the paint.
But the fact that Wembanyama leads the league in blocks and missed damn near half the season is bananas at how good that kid is in just his second year.
Ain't even scratched the surface yet.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
That's
and,
crazy.
And then I say big shout out to Pop. I saw him this weekend.
Oh, you saw Pops.
I saw Pop in Houston. He was up in the bottom and gave him a big hug. And he was like saying this was his first time out since his stroke. He looked good. He was walking with a cane, but he looked good. He talked to me for a minute.
Good.
How's his speech?
And his speech his speech is good. It's just really, really low, very faint.
Sure.
And so, but he's looking good. He's feeling good. He's trying to get out more. He said that was his first outing, like I said, and I was happy to see him, man. I know a lot of people probably think I'd be hating on San Antonio, hating on Pop, but got a lot of love for Pop. But just for the way he treated me when all my family issues were happening. Right. So, at the end of the day, it's all love about family. So it was really good to see him, man. I was, because you get those reports where he's, he can't get out of bed and all this kind of stuff. Right. You get mixed reviews. And I saw him. He was up. He had a cane. He was walking. So, and he talked to me. He didn't kick at me or cuss me out. He just said, "Hey, Rob, good to see you." And we both said, "Hey, if you ever need anything, call me." And I said the same to him.
Good. And obviously strokes affect everybody differently who've had them. And Pop has had to say he's had an amazing coaching career is an understatement. I know that he feels as though he still can coach. And I know he still feels like he wants to coach. But that takes a lot. And I know Pop doesn't, yell as much as he used to and things of that nature. But, even with the travel and just, that's a young team. A lot of talent, but it's a young team. Do you think do you think that it might just be time just for his health's sake and just recovering? Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I think at 76 years old, you've accomplished a lot when it comes to NBA. I think you should always have an office there, and you should be going to the consulting role or just, there as, in an advisory role or something like that. You don't need the stress of that team because you're so into it and you only know how to coach one way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and think about the stress of basketball, putting more stress on your heart, your mental, everything
travel.
else that goes in. Yeah, that's going to take even more years off your life. So you're 76. Hey, be that figurehead, consult.
Right.
Sure.
Only do home games. Just sit behind the bench, and I just don't want. He's too good. He's too good of a person to have something like this take him sooner than he needs to go. So I think he should just enjoy the moment and just, like you always say, give him his flowers now and let him just ride off into the sunset.
Now, I think both of us agree that we don't see him doing that because I think it Pop's mind when you have a talent like Wemby, like he sees that's somebody he would love to coach. and somebody that, I think part of him wanting to get better and part of him wanting to get back in his routine, part of that is Wemby. Part of that is knowing that he has a special talent that is still very, 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 very young in his career. And he wants to see him and be a part of him reaching at least somewhat of his potential before he goes off into the sunset. And seeing what it would be like to coach this young team and what, management could do with this team and molding it to a contender. So, I don't know Pop. I've only spoken to him one time. You know him very well, but I would guess that he ain't thinking about riding off into no sunset anytime soon, especially when you got a talent like that in Wemby.
He gonna sit his ass down. He gonna have to. I think the organization gonna make him just for his health's sake. You know what I mean?
I get that.
Because you gotta put someone's livelihood above. Like you always say about football players protecting themselves.
Yeah.
I think the organization needs to protect themselves from that. Even though I can control it. No, you can't, because we. Well, it's a too emotional game for you to control it.
Yeah. Let's do Big Shot of the Week, and then we're going to play our game because we are running all kinds of long. I have something else we're going to get to. I'm going to boot it to the shoot-around on Friday. So if you want to have extra topics, tons of extra topics for the shoot-around on Friday. Big Shot of the Week. Aside from Rob doing something that was really cool this week, I'm giving Big Shot of the Week to Ernie Johnson Jr. For this moment on the final regular season broadcast of Inside the NBA on TNT.
Every night we've had to prove ourselves. Every night. Because we were working with the heavyweights in sports. We'd worked with the folks at ABC and NBC and CBS, and it was like, well, prove it. And we did. And we do every night. That'll never change. And one of the most gratifying things about the whole process is this. We start the NBA on TNT back then in '89, and then we become synonymous with the league. For the fans out there they think NBA, and they think NBA on TNT. That's why it hurts tonight, to know that's gone after this next playoff run, and that's the business of basketball, I guess. But I will say this, no time for bitterness. It is time for appreciation. It's time for gratitude. And it has been my pleasure to be one of your coworkers, one of your teammates, and a part of this family. Love you.
When you can't say Ernie Johnson is a class act enough times, I'm going to say it again. He is one of the best class act guys in the history of sports media. What a beautiful, cool, heartfelt moment from Ernie on when he has every right to be pissed off that this thing went the way it went. He isn't. He isn't. He's the consummate professional. He knows that this is a moment for celebration and not bitterness, and he said it in his little speech there. And to stand out on the campus of TNT with all the employees who've worked there with him for 30-plus years and give that speech, holy crap.
Yeah.
Makes me tear up just hearing it.
Yeah, to see what TNT and Turner and all them have meant to the NBA for so long. And, when you have a platform like Inside the NBA, where you implement a level of entertainment that no one has ever really seen, to the point where you forget that you're looking at guys who played in the league, were very successful, Hall of Famers, won rings, all of that, and you're looking at them, and you're really not even looking at them for basketball, per se.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You're looking for fun.
You're looking for fun.
Yeah.
And so
Entertainment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The fact that you've had people complain left and right, whoop-de-woo, oh, this guy is this or this guy is that. The reason why this was the greatest show on TV is because not only, yes, did you get basketball, But there's so many moments where there are so many funny things that happen and so many memorable things that happen that you'll never forget. You can complain all you want. Guess what? The same people that complain were the same people they're watching every single night on those West Coast games, waiting for the game to go off so you can see the guys on the set.
At 2 o'clock in the morning, half awake, just falling out of themselves.
Hey, Mom, there's a game going on during Inside the NBA.
Yeah.
That's really what it was. Okay, the game is cool. I'm not here for the game. I'm here for the guys. And so to see
just cool, man.
those four, obviously you've had different renditions over the years. Ernie and Kenny have been two of the mainstays, and then Charles and then Shaq came about. But to have those four up there, I don't think we'll ever, no disrespect to anybody else in the industry, there will never, ever, ever, ever be anything like this ever again. And I'm saying that here.
Yeah, I think you're right. So just a big shout of the week to EJ and that staff and what they built over the years there is bananas. It's just crazy.
I think when you talk about EJ, just the respect he commands from everybody that comes in that studio, and the love he shows to everybody that comes in that studio. It's so weird when you watch EJ how he's the only one that can control them two idiots that sit at the ends.
Because it's respect. Everything with EJ is orchestrated through everybody's respect through him.
They follow his lead, right? They follow his lead. And the funniest is too, because I think we had him on when we were doing the show with Shaq, and he was like, everyone calls me a traffic cop because I'm basically in the middle trying to like mitigate the two dummies. And he goes, but my role as a traffic cop is to wave Chuck through the light so he T-boned Shaq. I was like, I like that. Always remembered that. So big shout of the week to Ernie. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Game time. Let's do it. We've played this game before. It's called Who's Bigger? And I'm going to give you two stats. You just got to tell me who's bigger. And this is a we missed the playoffs edition of Who's Bigger. So we're going to start with the Philadelphia 76ers. We laugh at Philly when the opportunity presents itself. Even if the Eagles had one of the best seasons in the history of the NFL, and just what a great year for the Eagles. The Sixers, not so much. So who's bigger? The total number of games Joel Embiid played in this season, or the Eagles' total number of wins, including regular and postseason? And I will tell you, by the way, in this week's edition of Who's Bigger, all of these numbers are damn close. There is no blowout winner on either side.
Yeah, this one right here is close.
So total number of Embiid games or total Eagles wins this year? Who's bigger?
Jeez.
I'm going to go with Embiid games because I know.
Okay.
I think Embiid played like 25 games, I think.
Did he? Played or dressed out for?
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang. I'm gonna go Embiid too, but only by a little bit.
Okay. Everybody goes Embiid.
I'm gonna regret this.
No, you're not.
Okay.
Everybody gets a point. Yeah, it was Embiid. Embiid played 19 games this season. The Eagles, including the Super Bowl, won 18. So it was a difference of a single game.
Yeah.
All right. Good job. Number two. While we're on Philly, let's talk about our boy Podcast P. He put his podcast on hold to, quote, focus on a championship run this season, which means he can just go ahead and start that show back up any day he wants now, because that's pretty much a done deal. So who's bigger? The number of videos that Podcast P has uploaded to YouTube since joining the Sixers in 2024, or the number of field goals that he made this season? So YouTube videos in the last year plus, or the number of field goals he made this season?
The total number of videos,
YouTube videos or field goals made?
I'm gonna go YouTube.
Videos. Yeah.
You're both going YouTube.
Yeah.
All right. Since joining the Sixers in July of 2024, Paul George has uploaded 288 videos to YouTube and YouTube Shorts. This season, he made a total of 245 field goals. So, yeah, it was videos uploaded to YouTube was more. So, good job. All right, number three. The Washington Wizards were in a dogfight with the Charlotte Hornets for last place in the East this season. Oh, there's a puppy. There's
It's a
Rob's
dog
new
fight,
puppy. If
so-
you're watching us on YouTube, speaking of YouTube, if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, Big Shot Bob, you can see Rob's. Oh, look at that guy. Oh my God, he's cute. Oh damn! Now I want a dog. Stop. My wife's gonna kill me.
You said he's what, 2 months?
Yeah, like
They
3
think
months,
3 to
something like
4
that.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, man, he's a cute puppy. All right, so the Wizards beat the Hornets by 1 game for the worst record in the East.
Yep.
So who's bigger? The Washington Wizards' average home attendance this season, or the number of military personnel that work at the Pentagon? So the average number of attendees in a Wizards game, or a number of people that work at the Pentagon?
Military personnel.
Is this before I have to Trump?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't factor that in. Sorry.
I'm going Pentagon.
Yeah, there were cutbacks. I'm just saying there were cutbacks at some point.
I'm going military personnel.
Everyone's going Pentagon. Wizards' average home attendance this season, 15,802.
It's not bad.
Approximately 25,000 military personnel work at the Pentagon. So, yeah, you're both right. It was the Pentagon. All right, number 4. We got 4 to go. We got 7 total here. We talked about the Charlotte Hornets. They don't have a lot to brag about this season. They finished 14th in the East. The only other thing Charlotte's got going for it, I think, at this point is NASCAR, because they have 2 of the biggest races of the year. So who's bigger? The number of Hornets wins this season, or the number of turns at the Charlotte Motor Speedway road course?
Number of turns.
Turns more than wins. Harper?
I'm gonna go number of turns.
Everybody's going number of turns. The Hornets won 19 games this season. The Charlotte road course has 17 turns. So it was actually, neither of you going to get a point on that.
Well, I guess,
I thought it was like 23 turns.
The road course boasts 17 turns.
I guess that's one of the only other few wins the Hornets got this season.
Yeah, that's it. That's all they got going for them. All right, Toronto just missed the play-in by 7 games. So even though they missed the playoffs, my question here is, who's bigger, the number of Toronto Raptors wins this season, or the distance in miles from Toronto to Niagara Falls?
Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls, which is not very far from Toronto. Not very far at all.
Step by step, inch by inch.
I don't know what you're doing.
That's from Three Stooges.
Okay. So Raptors wins or miles from Toronto to Niagara Falls?
I'm going to take Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls for Rob.
I'm going to take Raptors wins.
Raptors wins for Harper. Raptors won 30 games this season. Toronto is 43 miles from Niagara Falls, so the point goes to Rob on Niagara Falls. All right, number 6, 2 to go. Let's not forget about Jenner's sleep. No, we can forget about my sleeper team, the New Orleans Pelicans, who finished 14th in the West. Thank you,
Sleeper
by the
team.
way. They
That
never
team
woke
dead.
up. They never woke up.
Yeah.
So who's bigger, the number of games Zion Williamson played in this season, or the number of playoff and postseason wins the New Orleans Saints have notched in their 58-year history? So Saints postseason wins, or the number of games Zion played this year?
You said the Saints?
Saints or the Hornets? Oh.
No, the Saints. I'm in New Orleans, guys. I'm in New Orleans.
Oh,
New
I see.
Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, I'm taking the Saints.
So Saints postseason wins in their history, or Zion games this season?
You talking about 58 years, Rob.
I am.
I'm going to take Zion.
You're going Zion Williamson. Rob's going the Saints. Zion Williamson played 30 games this year. Including Super Bowl wins, the Saints have 10 postseason playoff wins.
You forget, they were wearing bags over their heads in New Orleans.
I was thinking the Super Bowl win. I forgot there's only 4 games.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that's 3 games?
Yeah.
If they're the number 1 seed.
And that was 2009, bro.
All right. Last one. Let's turn to Phoenix. We talked about Phoenix extensively at the front of the show. Who's bigger? The number of games the Suns won this season, or the number of games that Durant, Booker, and Beal played in together this season?
Oh, I think it's the Suns wins.
Yeah, the Suns wins.
Suns wins. All right. Suns won 36 games this season. Durant, Booker, and Beal played together in 37 games.
Dang.
So you're both wrong on the end of
They
it.
still didn't play together long enough.
No, they did not. They did not. And it didn't help them much, if any, because they only won 36 damn games.
That one was close.
So,
that one was real close.
Again, a lot of these were real close. So that's the missed the playoffs edition of Who's Bigger. And a lot of bonus stuff going to the shoot-around on Friday, by the way. So join us for the shoot-around on Friday. We're going to have an impromptu game in the shoot-around. We're probably going to start the shoot-around with it. It's going to be, can Rob and Harper guess the top-selling jerseys in the NBA this year? I got the top 15. So you sit on that.
Oh.
Don't do it now because we're going to do it in the shoot-around on Friday. But think on that one for a little bit. And
I think I can do that.
We'll see you guys on Friday.
That's going to be hard.
That's what she said.